It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR Show with Lee Saunders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Saunders.
What? Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out episode number 1025 of the RCWR Show for this Monday night of May 22nd, 2023. Apologize for the few minutes of a delay there. Not right now with the, what was it, like maybe 3-5 seconds of a black screen, but I'm talking about before that, because we actually should have been on at least no later than 11:10, so 10 minutes after Raw went off the air. But the Western Conference Finals was still going, and what a heated 3 minutes and a half in the fourth quarter there between the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers. And if you guys don't want any spoilers right now, because I know some of you guys operate like me at times and you've got your NBA games on the DVR and you go check it out after you get your wrestling post-show fix, wrestling show fix, and all that. So if you don't want any spoilers right now, you guys got your warning to back out or maybe fast forward by, I would say, 90 seconds. But you've been warned. Man, I called this a couple of nights ago when I was seeing how this series had initially went down, and I was saying to a couple of coworkers that follow basketball, because they were picking my brain, and I said, nah, man, what I saw after game one, this looks like it's going to be a gentleman's sweep, and that's exactly what went down tonight. I just got to give congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. It's really hard to believe. If you were to tell me that the Lakers would beat Golden State Warriors to advance to the semifinals of the Western Conference, I would say, damn, was somebody hurt? What happened to the Splash Brothers? What's going on there? What's going on with Draymond? Did he get suspended or something? What's happening there? And to know that all of those guys would basically be at play against LeBron and his Lakers, and Lakers would advance, I would just go, wait, what? How does that happen? And I had been paying attention off and on during the regular season to what all was going on with the Denver Nuggets. And I always felt, man, if Lakers and Nuggets were to ever meet in a best of, yeah, Denver's definitely got their numbers. So it was a valiant effort. I mean, essentially, this was really do or die for the Los Angeles Lakers in keeping their respected season alive. You know, at least try to definitely guarantee one more game tonight. It was all on the line, all or nothing at all. And when it was all said and done, they rose to the challenge. They went out there. Now, what I can't help but wonder is there going to be a fall guy for this? Because you know how radio operates, you know, sports media, you know how they all operate. You just can't help but wonder, especially in the city of Los Angeles as well, you can't help but wonder if someone is going to be made as an scapegoat. Of course, the new Lakers head coach You can't help but wonder if maybe he's going to face some type of scrutiny and everything. And I don't see that going down. I don't see. I would be shocked to see if, when it's all said and done, Darvin Ham, who's the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, and this was his first season. I mean, what a bad finish to his first year, because he basically got a gentleman's sweep there. But still, to be able to go into your first year and take this team and everything that was going on with them, the wild stories that was happening leading all the way up to the trade deadline, and just everybody that they were just right on down to when they got rid of Russell Westbrook and everything, traded him away and all that. For them to go as far as they did when so many people had them out, man, it's a really strong testament to how far along this team has come, the strides that they made this season. I would like to believe that Darvin Ham is safe. You ask me for my personal opinion, I feel Darvin Ham is safe. I think he has done exceptionally well. He's done more than enough to guarantee that he'll be back to head coach for the Lakers in the next season. So, I think Lakers fans have a lot to be very optimistic about going forward with this organization. And then as far as LeBron James goes, look, from what I've seen with LeBron off and on these past couple of years, but really focusing on this season alone, LeBron, whatever injuries has been plaguing him this season, I really don't think Father Time is an enemy right now. I think instead what it comes down to is him having the necessary time to be able to heal, recuperate from his injuries. That's the real deal going on there, because I know now you got all that chatter, how much longer is LeBron going to play? I don't even know why it's a topic, quite honestly, because LeBron has already let it be known that he wants to try and play long enough to see his son Bronny come into the league, and he would love for the opportunity to be able to play with his son before he hangs it up. So, while we're continuing to go on and on about, is this it for LeBron? Is LeBron done? Is that, no, he's already, and I truly believe that with the way science, health, nutrition, and all that is today, I truly believe that LeBron will be able to play long enough to see his son enter the league, and he will be able to play for him. I do legit see that happening. You can call it crazy all you want, but no, I just feel that from what I saw with this series, we didn't have a LeBron that was truly at 100%. But hey, nobody's trying to hear that excuse. When you put the jersey on and you're out there on the floor, people expect you to play. But you could tell that he doesn't quite have that step. He doesn't quite have that speed, but there were still explosive flashes here and there. And look, I'll take a 38-year-old. What would you say? Maybe he was at most 85, 90% what we saw here during this playoff run, and he was averaging like 23 points and double digits on the assists, pretty decent on the rebounds there. But I'll take 23 points any day of the week, especially in the playoffs from a LeBron James. Yeah, give me that. So this is all about him healing up and all that. But congrats to the Denver Nuggets. That was hey, look, Lakers, they made it interesting, but at least they didn't put out a performance as bad as the Boston Celtics from the other night. Anytime that you got Magic Johnson going on social media saying, in my 44 years being associated with the NBA, that was the worst beatdown. That game from the other night, I just shook my head and said, yeah, this series is over. The heart was literally ripped out from the Celtics. There was no sense of urgency from, just go back to that game. I mean, seriously, y'all know that, watch the game, y'all know. There's no sense of urgency, nothing that was going on there. So, yeah. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I'm getting better as far as recovery goes with the knee. I've been able to off and on go at longer lengths without wearing my knee brace. Today was probably the first full day that I was able to walk around without needing to use my cane. So it was nice to be able, no cane, no knee brace, although I ended up putting the knee brace on probably after about 10 hours. It just started to feel like it was being overworked a bit, so I just pretty much put it in a knee brace. Today was also the first day that I was able to move about in a way where I didn't rely on my pain meds for it. So I have done a full day without taking any pain meds for it. So I made some pretty good progress there. I did try to go out and do my side hustling, and that was pretty much over and done with real quick, because I saw what was going on, and it was, yeah, I'm done with that. Let me just go on back home. And wifey was checking in on me. Hey, how's your errands going? I'm going, yeah, I'm pretty much good. Nothing to do with the knee. It was just some other stuff that was going on. But slowly, surely, making a full recovery and everything. So haven't yet done my follow-up with the doctors. I'm hoping I'm able to do that this week. Not in regards to the leg, but in regards to the high blood pressure I was telling you guys about from last week. If you guys recall, if you missed out on that, just go back, check out episode number, because this is episode number 1025. Go back and check out episode number 1024 and 1023. What did you guys think about tonight's WWE Raw? I got some polls up on Facebook, Twitter, and the YouTube channel at the RCWR Show. So you guys can go sound off, let your voices be heard. Thumbs up, thumbs down, middle of the road, so you guys can sound off, let your voices be heard. I'll circle back and share with you all some of the results that's coming in so far. Don't spam out. Don't go on all three platforms. Just choose the one that you have access to. If you frequent all of those, just go with the one that you seem to like the most or whatever. But no need to vote on all three polls. Just vote on one poll and call it a day and everything. This was their go home show, because remember, this weekend is going to be WWE Night of Champions. I gotta say, I was pretty excited for Night of Champions this Saturday afternoon, because originally, and if you were with me for last week's show, I told you guys, hey, the way my work schedule is looking right now, I don't have to worry about work on Saturday. And when I went into work this past weekend, my boss was like, hey, Lee, he goes, it was so funny too, because he sees me walking around with the cane, and he sees my knee and the brace and everything, and he goes, hey, Lee, how's the leg, man? How you doing? And I said, oh, and I was honest. I said, oh, one day at a time. It's getting better, but it's very, very slow to recovery. And then an hour after that, he says to me, hey, check your schedule. I gave you more hours. And I'm thinking to myself, man, you're lucky that I didn't say this out loud, but I'm thinking to myself, you're lucky that I have so much going on, because as far as being a college student, and then, working for them, and then doing my side hustles, my multiple side hustles for extra revenue and all that. Nothing illegal, right? Nothing illegal, right? But like, I got all that going on, right? And I'm like, you're lucky I need this money, right? Because it's like, right? And so that was kind of funny. But yeah, my schedule's changed now. I'm no longer gonna be able to watch from the very beginning Night of Champions, because remember, that's coming on at a weird time. They're doing 1 p.m. Eastern this Saturday it starts, and then, my God, if you're on the East Coast, that's 9 a.m. And then I can only imagine how much later that would be for our friends that are in the UK. I think for our friends in the UK, that's probably going to be early in the evening, because typically when we get the evening pay-per-views here on the East Coast, our friends over in the UK, they have to stay up until they have to stay up pretty late. They have to stay up until about maybe, my God, midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning, to watch the pay-per-view in real time that like we're doing over here in the United States. So what might be 8 p.m. our time, the pay-per-view starts, it could be midnight or 1 o'clock a.m. at their end. So I would imagine the pay-per-view for them this weekend, that's probably going to be early evening, like maybe somewhere between, I would say, somewhere between 5 to maybe 9 o'clock, give or take. So they got it made, you know. So it sucks. I'm basically, by the time I get off work, I will have already missed the first 90 minutes of Night of Champions. But I'm going to try to see if I can do my best to sneak in a little something at work, you know, until I get ready to leave and all that good jazz. But yeah, this was WWE Raw's Go Home edition to Night of Champions, and it was a little bit lackluster for the most part, I got to say. I kept looking at the clock, and I'm being totally candid with you guys. I'm looking at the clock or, you know, my watch, tablet, whatever, and I'm just going, can we be done with this already? Because this is just freaking dragging, right? And then, you know, once the first hour wasn't so bad, but it was pretty much second hour on, you're just going, damn, can't believe we got another hour of this. For sure, after the second hour concluded, I couldn't help but say to myself, my God, I can't believe there's a third hour of this, because it was starting to get excruciating and everything for me. You know, I did like some of the things that were kind of dangled in the air there. The main one for me was, all right, they started off strong. I'll definitely give them that. The hook, line, and sinker. And maybe the way that this show was structured because of what was going on with competition from ESPN in regards to the Western Conference Finals and everything, I like how WWE pretty much opened it up. It was basically a 1-2 punch to the mouth, where they had Brock Lesnar, Country Brock, as I've been calling him. And shout out to the one fan I heard in the arena when Brock Lesnar did pop up in that arena. He was saying Country Brock. I don't know if that's an RCWR show listener or, you know, great minds just think alike, but it's funny because when I've been doing a search on Brock Lesnar, I have not seen people yet say Country Brock. Now, if people are saying it, I don't know, maybe I gotta do some type of a weird advanced settings thing or whatever, but Country Brock, for me, you know, means two things. The first thing that comes to mind, I think about the butter, and then, of course, the second thing that comes to mind is how it's Country Brock, like literally, it's the farm. He's a big old country boy, right? Country Brock, right? But the butter usually comes to mind for some odd reason. Don't ask why, but just every time I see him now, hey, Country Brock, right? So, but shout out to that one fan that was chanting and everything. I like that beatdown opening of Brock Cody, messing him up big time. I loved all of that. I ate that up. It's okay. This is a great way to grab your favorite drink, your favorite snack, sit on down, relax. Okay, this show is off to a pretty, spicy start. And then you had that great transition there to Paul Heyman in the middle of the ring, who's basically saying, yo, I had nothing to do with what you just witnessed my former client there and Brock Lesnar due to Cody Rhodes. He's pretty much saying at the same time, though, let this serve as a testament of, yo, he is not the one you want to be playing around with, right? So, you know, I love that, and how we still are left as fans to our own respected devices as far as the conspiracy theory goes. Is Paul truly not working with Brock Lesnar, or is there more to this that meets the eye? You know, it's kind of one of those type of deals and everything, right? So I like that, but you know, Heyman basically being the hype man, hyping up the pay-per-view coming up, or the premium live event coming up this weekend and everything, and pretty much making his exit. That pretty much set up a interference there by Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and miraculously somehow Paul Heyman just thin air just disappeared there, you know, as we pretty much had got our preview of Kevin Owens and Sami taking on Imperium. Remember, this tag match was pretty much made from last week. Of course, the main question was who is going to be the mystery partner. And it was interesting because we had a comment on the last show from one of you, the listeners, where you had brought up Drew McIntyre, but not for being the tag partner for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn this week, but for another respected outlet, basically tied into Gallus and everything. I think it was a fan booking dream there or whatever. Call it what you will. I'm not knocking it, right? But there was legit chatter online and in some forums of people saying, well, why not Drew? What's going on with Drew McIntyre? Maybe Drew McIntyre could be the one that could team up with Sami and KO. And as we ended up seeing the mystery partner for Kevin Owens and Sami against Imperium in the 6-man tag match tonight, it would be the original bro himself, Matt Riddle. Not sure how you all felt about that. Me personally, look, I'm glad that Matt Riddle, for the most part, until we hear otherwise differently, I'm glad that he took some time away to get himself checked out, get in the right headspace and all of that, and hopefully he's learned a lot more about himself, and he is doing the very best. And that's all you really can do, is put your best foot forward, and as long as you're making the effort, right, that's all that really counts. But hopefully he's making the best effort to be a better human being, a better man, a better contributor in the locker room, being a better listener, being a better, just checking all the boxes there, right? So this is definitely a long journey for him as far as his status in the company goes. I mean, remember at one point we looked at this guy Riddle and we were singing his praises, and then right before all the controversy had went down, we were hearing about some of the people that he was rubbing the wrong way backstage, particularly with Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg, and you're like, whoa, slow down there, man, right? Know your role and shut your mouth or whatever, but no, seriously, you heard about that, but those situations, it kind of really wasn't or I didn't look at it as a make or break career type of thing, make or break moving up the ladder type of deal. But we all can admit that once he started to do that team up with Randy Orton, there was some pure gold moments there, and it was one of those, a funny thing happened on the way to heaven. It was kind of one of those kind of things. You're running your errands and boom, this really cool thing happens to you. And that's what happened with Riddle and everything. And of course, when they took Randy Orton out of the equation, I know myself and a small minority group looked at it as an opportunity for Matt Riddle to try to reclaim what he was building upon when he was a solo act initially, before the whole thing with tag teaming and Randy Orton had came into the mix and everything. And then we started with the controversy, and it just seems like this go round for Matt Riddle, seems as though he's going to have to, and rightfully so given the circumstances, but it just comes off right now from a fan standpoint. This guy has to work twice as hard to, really get back over with the fans and everything. And I don't know if you're picking up the same vibes that I'm picking up, but right now it just feels as though we're still in that honeymoon period with Matt Riddle. You're still in that indifferent phase in regards to Riddle. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that way, much like I know there's still a lot of people out there in regards to Bronson Reed. right? You know, one thing that I had noticed tonight, too, with a lot of the matches, but I want to home in particularly on Bronson Reed and Zoe Stark. Their entrance musics, their entrance music themes, I just found those themes to be so generic. You feel me? Very, very generic. I'm just picturing loading up a WWE 2K game, and I'm trying to find the right type of music for my created wrestler, and I come across the most cheesiest, most generic rock music that's rap music that's out there. And I mean, go back and listen to that. I mean, those two themes particularly, they just sounded extremely generic for those cats. And, you know, look, Bronson Reed, he's got a great look and everything. I've continued to sing the praises of his looks and, you know, what the big man can do in the ring and everything. But I'm still waiting for that shift in gear for that guy. I'm still waiting for that. And I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Yeah, I can't help but feel that when he was put on the chopping block, that first rodeo from WWE, I can't help but feel as though, okay, the company feels a bit justified here. And I give Triple H and crew a lot of credit for bringing the big man back into the mix and everything. But, you know, we're talking big guys. I'm more interested in seeing what's going on with my boy in Damian Priest. I'm more interested in Apollo Crews. Hell, even though I think the gimmick is a little bit silly and everything, I'm more interested in what's going on with Mustafa Ali. Hell, I'm more interested in Indus Sher with Jinder Mahal. You know, there's so many other things that I'm more interested in that takes priority over Bronson Reed. Sound off on that. Let me know if you guys are pretty much in that same realm of a mindset, or if you think differently. Maybe there's something that, you know, maybe you disagree strongly, and, you know, maybe there's something that, hey, you know, you guys don't see it yet, but, you know, this is what's up. You can definitely sound off, let your voices be heard and everything. But yeah, just the themes for those two. I just wish we could get Jim Johnson back there and work on that music, man. Seriously. We really, 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 really need that. Decent match, though. You know, as far as match quality-wise goes for the show this week, I would definitely say Bronson Reed taking on Ricochet. Bronson Reed picking up the victory there. I would say that was a pretty solid matchup. I would also say the Viking Raiders going up against Alpha Academy. That was definitely a sleeper hit tag match. That was definitely a solid ass match of the evening. All right, definitely gotta give it up there, especially with Chad Gable going in there doing all of those crazy spots there with Ivar and everything. Remember, there was a deadlift German suplex, and the way frickin' Chad Gable arched those toes when he was doing it, right? It was a delayed back German suplex with bridge pin attempt. I'm just going, ooh! You know, those of all my favorite wrestling moves, man, when the right person comes along and they do it just right and they got the hook line and the arch in the toes and all that, you know, I love a good back German suplex, a delayed back German suplex bridge with pin. I love it. I love it. I pop for it every single time that I see it because it's a rarity these days, right? And it should be. It really should be because it's such a badass move and everything. Alpha Academy picking up the win after Maxine Dupree had caused, you know, somewhat a little bit of a distraction that Chad Gable was pretty much able to capitalize on. Another solid matchup. I got to give it up to Nakamura and Finn Balor. I would say the match that they had tonight was actually pretty solid. And, you know, looking at Nakamura, I just couldn't help but feel, man, you know, of all the people I wish that were competing to be crowned the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I wish Nakamura, you know, perfect world, I wish he could be that guy to get the opportunity and run with the championship and everything, because he has yet to have that definitive tight run on the main roster. Yeah, I mean, it's really the truth when you stop and think about it. He has yet to truly have it, and the fact that he hasn't had it yet, you know, man, at this point, it's kind of one of those. I think he's 42 or 43 years old, and you're going, well, shit, if it hasn't happened by now, it's probably not gonna happen, you know, for the duration that he's there in WWE, so pretty much forget about it there. I love the interference that Damian Priest was doing on the sidelines there, taking his little cheap attacks at Nakamura. Definitely planting some nice seeds there if you maybe want to have Nakamura and Damian Priest go at it in the near future, right? So I'm always happy as a fan, as a wrestling historian to a degree. I'm always happy when I see New Japan Pro Wrestling guys such as Balor and Nakamura get an opportunity to go in there and show what they're all about. So the fact that we had these guys in there getting some damn good solid ring time, right? Nakamura, Balor, you just knew that it was going to be good. The only thing that really sucked about this when it's all said and done, you could definitely make an argument, is the fact that we had constant, repetitive interference there by the Judgment Day, right? Because the way it's presented, right, way it's laid out and everything, and you know what's going to be the calling card, which had me bring this question up tonight, right? Which is, and I know we're jumping around all over the place, but it's really whatever comes to mind. We don't always have to go boom, 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 and then this match happened, and then, this ain't Sports Center. We ain't got to do it like that. Just whatever comes to mind. But follow this flow of thinking that I've laid out so far, right? I just told you guys how, in that same blueprint that we have with the Judgment Day, you look at what was going on there with Apollo Crews taking on Dominic Mysterio. Now, this match was the result of, if I remember right, it was a backstage segment where Rhea Ripley and who was it? It was Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. They were backstage, and I think they actually, I'm trying to picture, if I remember right, they interrupted Apollo Crews' promo time, his backstage interview time, and he was letting them know, hey, you interrupted me, come on, that's like not cool, right? And Rhea Ripley was trying to have some parting words there on Natalya. Apollo interrupts. All right, boom, instant Acme feud. All right, Apollo, Dominic, let's go. All right, so that was, that's great as always how you basically set it up to get to these matches and everything. But you had Rhea Ripley at ringside. Every chance that she got, very similar to what we had saw with Nakamura and Balor, right? The interference that was going on there. And this is where I said it out loud on social media. I'm paraphrasing here, but I said, didn't Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion? And yet we have Bianca Belair, who is the Raw Women's Champion, now drafted to SmackDown. Okay, so how does this work exactly is the question that I put out. And I asked, so when are we going to do some type of a title swap or what have you? Because it makes no sense right now. You feel where I'm coming from? I have a feeling that I brought this up before, but I can't help but ask the question. If Rhea Ripley, who defeated Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's title, why is she not exclusive to SmackDown? Is my question, because I would think the SmackDown Championship takes priority over her being drafted and, she's going to stay on Raw. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. It really does not.
And the fact that we're not seeing Bianca Belair continue to bounce, between shows, she's pretty much just staying right where she is. So it's very, very confusing right now, especially when you're told that the new draft, after the draft is all said and done, the new rosters, that's it, they're going to go into effect the very next week. And yet we still have Rhea Ripley. That never has been explained in storyline, why Rhea Ripley continues to pop up on the shows. There's got to be a way you can just nip that in the bud once and for all. I mean, if I am understanding this incorrectly, you guys let me know. But I'm just following how everything was played out with the Royal Rumble. Rhea Ripley winning. She decides she wants to go after the SmackDown champion in Charlotte. Defeats Charlotte. She becomes the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And yet she's been drafted to Raw along with the other members of Judgment Day. But yet she still is holding on to the SmackDown Women's title. It's very, very confusing. So unless a scenario comes about where Rhea Ripley loses the SmackDown Women's title, then obviously since she was drafted to Raw, that's it for her. She's now exclusive to Raw. There's no cameos by her on the SmackDown show, right? It's just really weird what's going on, how she's able to just bounce around like that. Even more the reason why they need to just go on ahead and do the title swap already, because it's so confusing right now given the circumstances. Just swap the titles. That way Bianca has the SmackDown title, Rhea Ripley has the Raw title, and it can just, right? But they gotta do it in such a way where I don't want history to repeat itself, kind of like what went down with, who was it, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Boy, that was just WTF, when that crap hat went down. I don't want to see a repeat of that and everything. But yeah, very, very weird there. Raquel Gonzalez had took on Sonya Deville. Raquel picking up the win. I don't know if it was maybe a time limit thing or what, but I just looked at this as another squash match. Post-match, Chelsea Green tried to get in a cheap attack in there on Raquel. Sonya joined in and everything. Shotzi Blackheart came out for the save. Nice spots that went down there. Was later revealed that Shotzi is going to be teaming with Raquel for that fatal four-way match to crown a new set of women's tag champions on next week's Raw. So there you go right there. Let's talk about the contract signing that had went down earlier tonight between Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. I put this tweet out, and I gotta tell you, look, when it's done right, I have been a fan of contract signings. But this was one of those rare occasions where I looked at a contract signing and I said, in this one particularly, and I said, yeah, man, you know what? You can miss me with this. This is just the drizzles. This is very, very boring. I'm not really interested in this one. So, yeah, no mas, right? I literally put my TV on mute after a couple of minutes. And I just continued to watch just so I could see the lovely Trish Stratus. Trish was looking extra scrumptious tonight. That's all I was interested in after hearing it just felt so goddamn flat. What we need is emotional context. And, a couple of people have responded to what I had said online, and it wasn't one of those things where this is up for a debate. I mean, obviously, you're going to have people that are really just going to be diehards, and they will defend their favorite superstar because their superstar can do no wrong in their eyes. I saw some people saying, it's not their fault. Blame the writers. And it's actually, that's way too easy. You guys are way too gullible. It's so much more than that. When you have been involved in the company, in this case with WWE, when you've done business with them for as long as Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus has, eventually you get to a respected point in your career where you're given a little bit of free reign. You're given a little bit of free rope to be able to do as you please and everything. And, I would love to interview one of these women or both of them to find out, okay, so in regards to the contract signing, how much leeway were you girls given? Was it completely you all's story to paint? As far as from idea to illustrating it on canvas, were you all given total free reign, or were you all following a script here? I would love to know. I would love to know. It felt so hollow by both girls. Wait, I'm supposed to get excited because Becky Lynch brings up the whole, woof woof bitch, bow wow wow, I'm supposed to get excited for that because she said the B word. That's not enough for me. You got to come at me a little bit more than just that. Emotional context that was so missing from that contract signing. I've never been so disengaged from a contract signing before in my entire life. I understand that Trish Stratus was saying, hey, this is my first ever contract signing. I've never done a contract signing before. And it's kind of one of those, wait, Trish, you've never done a contract signing in your whole WWE career? You never had a contract signing segment? Wow. And, the crowd that were chanting back at Trish, obviously the crowd felt that what they were hearing from her was a bit flat and everything. And then the appearance of Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch going back to the David Bowie weird cosmetic look thing there, right? Very comical. As far as I'm concerned. Big time Bex, right? Big time Bex. Not even Becky Two Belts. That was just big time Bex that we saw going on there. That wasn't the man. I don't know what the hell that was, but that wasn't the man. Okay? I was expecting the man to show up. I was expecting for the Becky Lynch black t-shirt tied up in a knot, underneath the stomach a little bit, wearing some black tight jeans, coming out there, ready to whoop some ass, right? That was the Becky Lynch that I was expecting to come out there. Not this, it was just very hollow. Very, very, very hollow. It made what I've seen some complaints about in regards to the AEW roster, some of the matches, layouts and all that. It made what they're doing over there come off like saints. It made them look like pros the way that I saw this segment laid out. Hey, it's just my personal opinion. Doesn't mean that at the end of the day, I got final say, be all, end it all. But that's just how it came off to me. I never wanted to hit the fast forward button in real time so fast in my life. I wish it was an option, but it just felt like they were trying so hard to really force this to work. And I've always been one of those type of cats who, look, man, either you got something there or you don't. And look, at least with Austin Theory and John Cena, there was definitely something there, which reminds me, because I wasn't going to bring this up until much later, but do yourselves a favor and check out John Cena's latest interview with Sam Roberts on the Not Sam Wrestling podcast. Sam Roberts, interviewed John Cena for about 30 minutes. It's on the YouTube channel. You can find it. It's on YouTube. And it was such a great fucking interview. And I love the part where John Cena talked about how he was able to sit down and figure out a way to make things work as far as a program with Austin Theory. And he told Austin Theory straight up, because he legit has been watching the WWE product, even though he's not there on a regular basis. He, has been keeping tabs on who's doing what and all of that. And he said to Austin Theory's face, look, you are one hell of an athlete. You are very good in the ring. Yeah, you'll definitely do the interviews, whatever they need you to do. Yeah, for sure. But, when it's all said and done, John Cena pretty much giving it to him right between the eyes. You're still not ready yet. And that's why I'm working with you. You're not there yet. That's why I'm working with you, right? And all the things that he said to Austin Theory privately, he ended up saying to him publicly, right? And so John Cena, with Austin Theory's help, okay, this is how we're going to get from A to B, right? They worked on it together. And, it kind of brought out, honestly, this was all about bringing out the best in Theory, trying to help Theory rise to the occasion. And Theory did do just that in his own way. He did rise to the occasion, which, when you really stop and think about it, particularly their WrestleMania match, it made that WrestleMania match, from a storytelling standpoint, that more interesting. And when you look at Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch, I guess what they're trying to tell us right here is, you can't say Becky Lynch is the future, because she's been at it for a good minute now, but you can see certain elements from Cena and Theory in Becky and Trish. But this also has, I guess the way WWE was looking at this, the powers that be, I guess they were also kind of looking at this as maybe, I'm thinking as them for a second. I'm not thinking this. I'm not even assuming WWE is kind of thinking this, but maybe what they were trying to paint here is, okay, female, I don't know, female Stone Cold versus female, Rock, or female, right? You fill in the blanks. Female Cena versus, right? You fill in the blanks, right? But a generational thing when it's all said and done, right? So they all have in common. It's a generational thing. But this one has just been coming up flat on so many levels. And I think a big part of that has a lot to do with the advancement in the storytelling that has been laid out here, because they've been pretty in a haste with this. I mean, if you really stop and you really think about it, right? They missed out on a nice golden opportunity, particularly to really have Trish Stratus go out, continue to get mega heat with those missing. Have you seen Becky Lynch T-shirts and the posters and all that? They missed out on a really golden opportunity to do some really strong weeks of social media campaigning, trolling, videos, interviews, whole 9 yards. They really missed out on that to, at least do it for a full month, ride it up to a pay-per-view, do it in a way where Trish Stratus tries to go in, maybe extract some type of revenge. Trish takes out Lita, right? Again, Lita trying to get that revenge because, after all, Trish did say she was the one that took out Lita, right? So that can pretty much be your whole month right there, and then you get that out the way. Then you move on to Becky. And they really, really, for a company where I'm reminded about Nick Khan and Triple H, and I'm reminded about how in interviews a couple of years ago, maybe last year even, and they were talking about how they wanted to tell longer story arcs. They wanted to do a better job at storytelling. This is one of those prime examples of maybe how not to go about storytelling, because this is definitely it's a rush job. When it's all said and done, it feels like a rush job. So wasn't impressed with this contract signing whatsoever. Dominic Mysterio picking up the win, by the way, against Apollo Crews there. Some nice spots, decent, nice little return there for Apollo Crews. The Zoe Starks Candice LeRae match. Zoe Starks picking up the win as Nikki Cross had, ran a little bit of unintentional interference. She was trying to root her friend Candice on. Obviously, she feels for Candice a certain way, but it's not exactly mutual. It's not exactly, likewise a reaction there for Candice. It's very weird what's going on there with that relationship. But Candice pretty much getting her ass handed to her by Zoe Stark. Here's the thing. Zoe, great look, everything. I follow Zoe Stark from NXT. I saw about, I would say, 80% of her work in NXT for the time that she was down there and everything. So you had this promo where Zoe Stark was talking about beating everybody's favorites, all the WWE fans' favorites, right? Basically, there's a new sheriff in town. Her name is Zoe Stark, yada, 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 right? Okay, great. And, all right, so you're going to ruin all of our favorites. And then you're doing this thing with Zoe Stark and, you're doing this thing with Zoe Stark and Candice LeRae. I don't know who booked this, but Zoe Stark had no business. I personally feel, look, storyline continuity, I get that. But if you're going to do this thing where Zoe Stark is saying, I'm going to beat all your favorites, on the same episode and within the same minute that you air this vignette, you go right to Candice LeRae. The first thing I'm going is, well, Candice LeRae ain't my favorite. Candice LeRae ain't a lot of people's favorites. So if you destroy her to the point we don't see Candice LeRae again on our TV sets, hey man, that's cool, right? That's literally, right? We mean well, but it's like, hey, we're good, okay? The crowd seemed very disinterested in this match, and the participants on so many levels, okay? And you're talking about how, she's going to destroy all your favorites. Okay, well, if she's supposed to be coming in and she's supposed to be built and put over like this beast of a woman that is just going to destroy competition left and right, then why did we have the unintentional assists from Nikki Cross? I mean, all of that just, it contradicts itself on so many levels and all that. Just, yeah, you can miss me with all that. Whatever is going on with Bray Wyatt, I hope they're able to get that resolved pretty soon, because I had a really cool idea. I would like to see a really cool ass stable with Bray Wyatt, Eric Young, Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross. You're welcome. Make that work. How about that? Make that work. That would be very, very interesting on so many levels. Okay? I would imagine Jeremy Borash and crew, they saw what Eric Young was doing with Violence by Design or Violent by Design? I think it was Violence by Design. I'm sure they saw what was going on over there. Take some of those same elements, do a Sanity 2.0 approach, but let Bray Wyatt be the one. You feel where I'm coming from? Work that. Work on that. How about that? That would be pretty badass. Just trying to think if there was anything else in regards to Raw for this week. Did we talk about the main event match? I think we kind of glanced over the main event match. Main event match was Imperium, Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci, I apologize. Giovanni Vinci taking on Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Matt Riddle. Owens, Riddle, Zayn picking up the win. Gotta say, the commercial breaks really hurt the hell out of this matchup, all things considered. I didn't like the way Imperium were booked in this one because, you know, they really did a poor job, I felt, in really showcasing just why Gunther has been the longest reigning current Intercontinental Champion in modern era. And, you know, really showcasing Kaiser and Vinci. It felt kind of slighted here a little bit, you know. It's a shame because the one thing that they did do right is presenting these past couple of weeks Gunther being this serious threat of an opponent, while, you know, Kaiser and Vinci, they're just these lackeys. That's honestly how they come off. They come off like fucking lackeys, and that's a damn shame because there's so much more than that, you know. So, but I did like how Raw went off the air because we had Cody Rhodes, who there was a segment where Brock Lesnar coming down to the ring earlier in the night, and he was mocking Cody Rhodes there. This prompted Cody to come out. Cody having his arm in a sling, ice on it, taking all of that off. He wanted to brawl with Brock right there on the spot. Brock obliged, got the best of him, slapped on that Kimura lock, did significant damage to that arm. So now the question up in the air is, what is the status of Cody Rhodes? Is he going to make it to this weekend's Night of Champions, or isn't he? So I liked how it ended with Cody in the locker room, still very sore and sour over what had went down with Brock. And of all people, Triple H comes in there to talk to him. I liked it. It was a very nice touch. And without Triple H verbally putting it out there, who knows better about Brock Lesnar than the game Triple H, right? Even though they didn't mention it, right, I don't really think it's needed because the hardcore WWE fan, right, they see this, they get it, right? But I love seeing Triple H trying to counsel Cody and saying, look, man, you got to let the docs, the medical staff, you got to let them do their thing. And Cody's like, nah, man, I'm not doing it. I don't need that. You know how tough I am, la, da, 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 da. And Cody's, you know, he's like, no, you know, get the hell out of here. No. Triple H, look, I get it. You know, let's face facts. Your arm ain't at 100%. You are afraid that medical staff come in here, they check out your arm, you're not going to be able to clear. And he tells, look, you know, you're tough. I'll give you that. You ain't got to prove nothing to me. I remember when you messed up your pec and all that, you know, your shoulder. I remember all of that. No one's questioning your heart. Make no mistake about it. I get that you're afraid. And Cody's like, nah, it ain't about me being afraid. You know, it's about the fact that, you know, I need to do this. I want to do this, right? And it was a nice back and forth between the two of these guys. I ate that shit up. Cody asked Triple H straight up, look, what would you have done? You know, he's like, you're in my shoes. What would you have done? And, you know, he's like, you know what I'm going to go out there and do. Like, come on now. And he tells him, he's like, I'm going to Night of Champions. I will fight Brock Lesnar. And the only thing Triple H can do after that is just smile, pat him on the back, rub his leg, and say, okay. And the show goes off as you have Cody Rhodes look on very concerned. You know, it was kind of one of those, okay, I know what I said just now. How the hell am I going to make this work, right? So I love that dangling over our heads as we're going into the weekend is basically the status physically of Cody Rhodes and whether or not he's going to be able to, you know, show up and somehow pull a rabbit out of his hat, right? Get some type of a W there over Brock Lesnar and everything. By the way, honorable mention, I love Brock Lesnar dissing Mustafa Ali. Get a job, kid! No, get a life. Get a life, kid. I love that. I love that. Great shit right there. Decent episode in a couple of areas. Country Brock, no issues with that whatsoever. Good thing. The overkill on Judgment Day. Seriously, we got to put a curb stomp to that already. Seriously, I never thought I'd say that, but we do. We got to put a curb stomp to that already. Balor, Nakamura, that could have easily, just for the admission alone for WWE Raw, that could have been the admission alone, but, you know, it fell so short, and not because of the performers. Just the time length for starters, the tone in which they had to execute the match, and then, you know, the bullshit interference in there, you know, is another one. Still, overall, a good selling point of an episode for Night of Champions. I've seen worse go-home editions for their premium live events. This is definitely nowhere near the top of that list. Definitely nowhere near the top of that list. So, pretty decent for what it's worth. Let's see what you guys had to say. As I had polled you guys on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram using the keywords the RCWR show. So let's see what's going on with you guys here. And interesting, very interesting. Very interesting. I had reached out to a Twitter buddy of mine, Ashley Saunders. No relations to me. I'm Sanders. She is Saunders. She has a U in her name and everything. She's actually from right out here in D.C. I've bumped into her a couple of times at Awesome Cons. And Ashley, you definitely got to let me know if you're doing Awesome Con again this year and everything. But Ashley Saunders, who's the co-host of the Geek Girls Verse, she was giving her first impressions of seeing the new Flash movie. Now, I've heard some reviews from those who saw the new Flash movie. Remember, it comes out in theaters in June. And, you know, some reviews, hey, man, it's badass. Yo, they do what they need to do as far as resetting the DC universe, right? And Ashley Saunders had gave a spoiler-free review of the movie. And she had this to say, which made me respond to it. She said, just got out the Flash, and it was not good. If you want to see it because of Keaton and nostalgia / fan service, okay, you might not love it all, though. But if you want the Flashpoint told in a coherent way, watch the TV show. So I said to her, okay, so would you say wait till it comes out on DVD or Max, or stick to the TV show and comics on this one? And Ashley said, depends. If you're going for Keaton, I loved his Batman back in the day too, then maybe don't wait. But the Flashpoint storyline is better told in the show. So if that's your draw, I would watch that. And it's been interesting to see some of the comments that have come in so far, because one person said, what if my draw isn't Keaton or Flashpoint? I don't like either thing, but my draw is the Flash himself. Is there enough good Barry character stuff to make it worth seeing? That is actually a really good question. And then somebody screenshotted her review on Twitter of Thor Love and Thunder from June 24th, June 22nd. She said Thor Love and Thunder is insane in all the best ways. She gave the director mad props, saying give him all the movies. Gorgeous visuals, killer soundtrack, and Christian Bale was sinister. Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, the GOATs. Holy Odin, I cannot wait to watch this again. And so people are jumping out there saying she has no credibility. They're laughing at her review. One person is saying she also gave Quantum Mania, Black Widow, and other mediocre MCU movies a good review. So, you know, it's kind of interesting here. You know, she has her detractors, right? So you kind of have to take some of those things that you're hearing about Flash, and it's kind of one of those, look, if you plan on going to see the movie, then you kind of have to be your own judge and everything, and pretty much go from there. So I like Ashley, though. Ashley, I check her out from time to time. She's, I got no issue with her. She's pretty solid and everything. And I just thought, hey, look, it's nice to get those early perspectives. And then, of course, I extend the olive branch to you all out there. If any of you all end up seeing The Flash long before its theatrical release and you want to give a spoiler-free review, let me know about it. I definitely would have no problem checking out your review, and assuming that it's a spoiler-free review, I'll definitely share the love on social media and all of that. But I will defend Ashley a little bit on Thor Love and Thunder, although I do feel that of all the Thor movies, of all the MCU movies, I would not say that it was a damn good movie. That was one of the weakest efforts by MCU. As far as the visuals, yes, I cannot dispute that. The visuals, yes, very good. Christian Bale, he knocked it out of the park. Tessa Thompson, she did exceptionally well as Jane Foster, the female Thor, Mighty Thor. She did phenomenal. I definitely... Tessa Thompson, that is who I'm thinking about, right? It is Tessa Thompson. That was... No, Tessa Thompson was Valkyrie. I'm trying to think. Tessa was fine, but the girl that was Jane Foster, the female Thor, Christian Bale and her, they really helped carry the hell a lot out of that movie. I personally felt they made it worthwhile. So I definitely got to give them the props for that. The soundtrack, there's only was so much I could hear of Guns N' Roses before I'm ready to clock out. Because didn't they keep playing the hell out of? Let me think here. Sweet Child of Mine. What else did they play from Guns N' Roses? I'm trying to think of the rest of the soundtrack. As a matter of fact, let me go with Thor, Love and Thunder, soundtrack, because that'll really help jog my memory a little bit, because I'll easily be able to think of which scenes from the movie I had saw, you know what. No, I want to know what actually appeared in the movie. See, I'm trying to think what actually appeared in the movie, and I don't want to watch it again. I'm not going to lie. I remember kind of rocking my head a little bit to some joints. Wasn't there a fight scene to November Rain? I could be wrong on that. I could have sworn there was like a fight scene or something to November Rain. I could be wrong on that. I'll meet her halfway on the soundtrack. So, but no, I'm not going to say that was a really solid ass movie. Anyway, let's see what you guys are saying. I got into that because my Twitter notification has been blowing up. So, yeah. But let's see what you guys had to say about WWE Raw for tonight. Let's go to Twitter at the RCWR Show. Survey says 14% of you are giving it a thumbs up. Meanwhile, 28% of you are giving the show a thumbs down, while 57% of you are staying in the middle. Appreciate you guys that let your voices be heard on the Twitter. Let's go to Facebook at the RCWR Show. See what you guys are saying over there. I got it loading up. There we go. And let's go here. And let's see if you guys have voted yet on Facebook. Let's see here. So far, 100%. That's still early, though. I'm guaranteeing you that's going to change same time tomorrow night. But right now, early voting on Facebook, 100% are staying in the middle. Now, let's go to YouTube at the RCWR Show. Click on the Communities tab. Go vote that way. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Tie at 25% for thumbs up and thumbs down, while 50% of you are saying middle of the road. Yeah, it was a middle of the road kind of episode. You were able to find some good parts. There's definitely some, I wish we could fast forward this. Yeah, I was more interested in the Western Conference Finals game than I was in Raw, to be honest with you, after the first hour. Legit, after the first hour. After that first hour, I just found myself going, yeah, you know what, let me just go ahead and, I just kept flipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, if you haven't voted, continue to let your voices be heard. You know, we were just talking about Thor, Love and Thunder and everything. We definitely got to give a shout out to someone that was part of the MCU universe and everything. He was involved in the first two Thor movies. He was also involved in Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars, Dexter, the Three Musketeers. Of course, you know, if you're into your comic books, you're very big on all things Marvel Comics particularly. You remember his portrayal of Frank Castle and the one and only Punisher Warzone. We lost another one, another good one. We lost Mr. Ray Stevenson at the age of 58. And at the time of his death, he was filming a movie, apparently. He was filming something called Casino in Ischia, in Italy. And the man passed away 4 days before his 59th birthday, apparently. So, what, you know, because he passed away, if I remember right, he passed away on Sunday. So, just a huge shocker right there. My man had a lot of range, a lot of freaking range of an actor. You know, the best way I can What's been a calling card for Ray Stevenson, I personally felt, is the fact that this guy, his calling card, he could take a character and do a phenomenal job in adding depth to that character. It's one thing to go out there, remember your lines, and give a really great emotional performance. You know, you got the facial expressions down, and you got those that are, you know, really great character actors and everything, you know, but what always gets to me as a person that is very fond of all things movies, all things acting, I love a good actor that can bring significant depth to the roles that they play. And Ray Stevenson was one of those type of guys that could easily flush that out. You know, he made it just seem so natural, the way that he was able to do it. And every single time, no matter the role, you know, he was always able to deliver such a memorable performance. And I say that to this point. Let's talk Punisher for a brief second. You know, I know the new craze right now is John Bartholomew and everything that he's able to do as the Punisher. I know a lot of people are pretty excited for whenever we're going to see him back on the big screen and everything. But way before he became the whole talk of the town with, you know, Netflix Punisher and all of that, Ray Stevenson and his portrayal of Punisher and Punisher Warzone, oh my God, that was fucking, you know, Thomas Jane never really sold it for me as Punisher. Love the guy, think he's a solid actor, but every time I looked at him, the only thing that I could think of was Christopher Lambert. That's all I could think of, you know. I was waiting for him to just you know, do the Highlander laugh and all that, right? I was waiting for him to just, he never really, and when they did Punisher Warzone, if you remember being a kid, and that time sneaking, if you were like me, you know, as a kid growing up in the 80s, you were, you know, you were reading those Punisher comics, you made sure that your parents did not fucking come across, you know, your Punisher comics, because, man, those Punisher comics back then, oh my God, a lot of gore, a lot of violence, guns, lots of guns. I remember I had shared this story on a show once, and it was actually when we had Mish. Shout out to my brother-in-arms, Mish from Wrestling Soup. Mish will know this story extremely well, but I'll just give the bullet point versions. But you could probably find it. I'm pretty sure there's a guest exclusive section on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I included it in that playlist, my chat with him from about maybe 2-3 years ago. And there's like this one Punisher comic that I remember picking up. I think it was called The Punisher Armory or something like that. It was like a limited series. And it showed all of the Punisher's favorite weapons that he loved going to time and time again to kill people. And man, I remember I got in trouble because I had brought that comic to school. I mean, man, this was probably, my God, this was definitely elementary school. It wasn't junior high. It was elementary school. And I remember one of my teachers, I don't know how the hell they came across the damn comic. I don't know if I left it out in the open or what, but they came across it. Next thing I know, I had to go to the principal's office. I had the principal asking me all kinds of weird questions. It was so goddamn embarrassing. So embarrassing. I felt like I was public enemy number one. That's how I felt. And then they held me long enough until I think I think either two things happened. Either they held me long enough until my mom came to the school to pick me up, or they sent me home with a note to give to my mom. It was one of those two things. But either way, I remember my mom being so upset, right? And, at this point, she wasn't even really aware of what comics I was checking out on a regular basis. She just knew I was into comics. So she's like, okay, show me your comic books. And I had to go through, my God, back then, I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of comics. Back then, I probably had about at least 500 to 800 comics that were just all in boxes and shit. So she's going through all the fucking comics and every single thing that's Punisher related. Anything Punisher, I had to put it in the incinerator. I was mad. I was mad. I was mad. I was so goddamn mad. And that included Punisher, the war journals that came out back in the day. So, true story. True fucking story. Ray Stevenson really brought to life the Punisher that I remember growing up on as a kid. Back in the 80s, going into the 90s, he really brought that character to life. And it's a testament to the training, what's the right word I'm looking for? The training stages that he put himself through in preparing for that role. He actually read the Punisher comics. I think the particular series he read was Punisher Max, to really get ready for the role and everything. And it's unfortunate that movie was looked upon as a commercial failure, because I think it had a $35 million budget and it only did $10 million, or maybe my numbers, maybe I need to flip that. Maybe it was a $10 million, the hell? Oh, it's my furry daughter coming in here. Maybe it was a $10 million budget and its gross was $35 million, but it was looked at as a commercial failure. And after that, and remember, this was when this movie came out, I think this was their attempt to try to reboot the Punisher franchise. I think this was either their first or second attempt to reboot the franchise. And, after that, that pretty much was it, right? And it's funny because you'll see the ratings, for the movie. The score is very, very low, right? I think the one thing that really had displeased so many people that saw this movie, is the fact, there's so much gore, all the deaths, and a lot of the people, they're going at it and they're bashing the movie because of that. But anybody that ever picked up a Punisher comic, you're going, no, that's about accurate, right? I know Pat Oswalt and a few other people, they love the hell, to this day, they love the hell out of Ray Stevenson's Punisher Warzone movie. I'm definitely there on the top of that list. I found myself on Amazon earlier today trying to see if I could get myself a UHD copy, a physical copy, to own and everything. So 58 years old, though, that's very young, especially when you see how he was looking in recent years. He's still very recognizable, was holding his weight up extremely well, just crazy. The last time that I can recall an actor that had passed away, either while he was filming filming a movie, or maybe just on a vacation or something like that, it just, how he went out, it just has reminiscence of James Gandolfini, who, as we all know, he was on vacation with his family when he passed away. And then I can't help but think about Ray Liotta, because Ray Liotta had passed away while he was shooting a movie, if you guys recall. So rest in peace to Ray Stevenson. Also, got an update for you guys in regards to superstar Billy Graham. And by the way, you know what had really took me back between the last show that we did to now is the fact that there were so many of you guys that had went out of your way on social media. You showed superstar Billy Graham a lot of love, I gotta say. Just all throughout social media, I was seeing all the nice comments, the tributes that were coming in, and it was really between that and what people were going out of their way to say from the clip that I had shared of Billy Graham on the podcast Facebook page. It was really touching to see all the younger heads that honestly didn't know anything about Billy Graham, but were like, man, this dude could fucking talk. You know, oh man, this dude got mad swag. I remember seeing one comment where one guy had said, wow, man, he talks like a brother. You know, well, wait a minute. You know, he's like, hey, this dude talks like a brother. What the fuck? You know, and it was nice seeing all of those cool comments that were coming in. You know, it put a big old smile on my face that younger fans were going out of their way to hear the man, see the man in his own words, see why he was a big deal and everything. And it just made me go, oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. But I got an update in regards to superstar Billy Graham for you all. There is some funeral information, and I want to share this with you guys. It's the link that I want to share with you all. Now, I'll remind you guys as it gets closer, but it looks like funeral services is going to be going down June 1st. Yeah, funeral services has been announced for the late superstar Billy Graham. Looks like it'll be his funeral. It'll be held on June 1st at noon. That's Mountain Time, in Chandler, Arizona, at the Full Life Church. And the event will be streamed live. For those of you that can't attend, you'll be able to check it out on the church's website. So if you want to bookmark the church's website, that website is Full Life. And make sure you add all those L's in there, because you got to get it right. Otherwise, it's not going to pop up. No trickery in there, just as it sounds. Full, so Full, and then life, so you put another L in there. Full Life Church AZ. That's basically Arizona.org. Again, Full Life Church AZ.org. A as in apple, Z as in zebra. Full Life Church AZ.org. So as it gets closer, I'll remind you guys. But again, it's going to be at noon Mountain Time and all that, for those of you that might be interested in checking it out and everything. So that was nice, though. It was really, really awesome seeing all the people that were reacting to that clip and everything. And, you know, you had maybe, just from our Facebook page, you had maybe two knuckleheads that popped in there, and they were trying to say some derogatory things about Superstar. I remember there was one guy that was really hilarious. He was like, how dare you mention him in the same breath as Hulk Hogan? You know, that's an insult. It shows your lack of knowledge and all this other stuff. I mean, this guy was really, and I remember before watching and being reminded by WWE, because I know WWE had basically did a tribute video to superstar Billy Graham. They shared it on social media first before they did that Friday SmackDown or whatever. And I remember telling my wife about, you know, this one knucklehead that had left the comment that he left. And I remember telling her before I saw WWE's thing, obviously this guy doesn't know jack shit what he's talking about, because you got the Hulkster that's giving superstar Billy Graham props and talking about, hey, I learned a lot from this guy, some things I borrowed from this guy, da 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 da. And sure enough, I pretty much see the thing that WWE has shared on social media. And I'm also reminded how, if you actually go back and check out the Superstar Billy Graham DVD, Hulkster had said some shit about Billy Graham, like, so what am I missing here? It was kind of one of those, man, get the fuck out of here, kind of moments and everything. I just blocked and kept it moving along and everything. It was fucking hilarious. But no, everybody was very respectful, to one another, and sharing some fond memories. I remember one guy went out of his way to talk about how he did some maintenance at Superstar Billy Graham's home in Arizona. Apparently, Billy Graham was having some air conditioning issues, and he went to his home and had, pretty much fixed it up. Apparently, went to the man's house more than once as far as repairs go, and all of that. So, interesting stuff right there. Look, as far as the card for Saturday's pay-per-view, let's get into that on Wednesday's show. We'll get into that, but I don't feel like doing it tonight. I don't. I think that's kind of better suited for the Wednesday show. We were just talking about the Hulkster, by the way. I finally had sat down and I watched the second episode of Rich and Shameless on TNT. I watched the episode concerning Hulk Hogan taking on Gawker. And shout out to that TNT series. I've been a fan of theirs since the very first season. I love it. I have that on my DVRs, added to my playlist and everything. So anytime I'm not able to watch new episodes when it premieres initially, I get to check it out for on demand and all that. And shout out to them because they did some really strong numbers for that second episode. They did about 850,000 viewers. So that episode had aired on May 17th. And, that's pretty damn good of a number. And that show had aired at 11:47 following TNT's coverage of the NBA. So the fact that, look, we already know the NBA game itself, that's going to bring in a couple of million. And then the TNT Inside the NBA post show, you already know that's a couple of million right there. So the fact that you had, pretty much from, that whole block of NBA programming, and the fact that you had a little bit over 850,000 viewers stick around, that's pretty damn good. But it was interesting going back down memory lane as I was watching this episode on the Hulkster taking on Gawker and all that. I can remember being on air during that time because, you got to remember, this was pretty much, we launched the show in 2011. So at this point, we only had a handful of months. We were nowhere, when all this was going on, we were nowhere near a year yet. So when all of this was going on with the Hulkster, it was kind of crazy during that time, especially reporting it, talking about it and all that. I definitely need to go back into the archives to see and pull up the actual audio, my thoughts about the whole situation and everything. But the team behind Rich and Shameless, they did not miss anything. They did not miss a beat when they were covering, the things from all sides. Probably the only thing that was missing was the PayPal co-founder or founder, him speaking and, hey, yeah, I have funded Hulk Hogan, and I did it for it was back then. I'm going to talk to you for a little bit just from personal experience, what it was like when all of that was going on with the Hulkster. Okay, I mean, the one thing that you got to remember is at that time when the Hogan sex tape had came out, Hogan was long divorced from Linda Hogan. But if I remember correctly, the litigation that was going on between them, it was really bad because the Hulkster was working in TNA Impact Wrestling during that time period. And when he had got things settled with Linda, it was pretty much, look, Linda gets all of this, percentage-wise, she gets all of this, she gets all of that, anything, this from this day on, that's pretty much your money, but you got to give her all of this. So in part, why he did the deal and everything with Impact Wrestling and all that. But in what should have been a media tour for the Hulkster and putting over Impact Wrestling and what they're getting ready to do and all of that, I remember he was on this goddamn apology tour about this sex tape that had came out and everything. And when you first heard the rumblings about this Hulk Hogan sex tape, you're going, wait, what? Hogan, wait, huh? To say your prayers, eat your vitamins? Like, no, come on, really? Nah, that can't be, nah, sex tape? No, right? You started hearing little rumblings, and you're like, I don't believe that, right? And at this point, again, you had a divorce already between him and Linda Hogan. It had been years removed from the Hogan Knows Best TV show, because that went from 05 to 07. Nick Hogan's automobile accident, that had already happened, right? A couple of years prior, right? Kinks in the Hulkster's armor, remember, kinks in the Hulkster's armor, as far as say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and all that other stuff, publicly, it really began to have cracks in it when that whole Nick Hogan automobile accident went down and the person that was riding with him got severely injured. And, there's the infamous audio call that Nick was having with his dad, where Hogan basically was saying, Terry Bollea was basically saying, yo, this kid, he's a negative, he's negative energy, he's negative force, and pretty much blaming this kid, right, because of all the stuff that had went down with Nick, and, just blaming the poor kid that is now severely disabled. Life as he knows it, that's it. He's done for the rest of his life. He cannot function, as a regular young adult, right? Because of this horrific automobile accident in which Nick Hogan was the driver. Okay, so you had the kinks in the armor, the breakings and all that, the cracks. It started there. And you had Hogan go on this little defensive apology tour, right? And America pretty much had swept that under the rug. Now, even before this Hogan sex tape, I remember hearing rumblings back then, little forums, things like that, but nothing had came to fruition. But at this point, and I remember I had talked about it on the shows earlier back then, I remember saying, well, look, my one of my friends at the time had a friend that used to be a chauffeur, and he would drive around, major celebrities. And one celebrity that he constantly would drive around was Hulk Hogan. And the stories that this chauffeur could share with you guys, he saw the Hulkster in some, look, one night, Hogan would have 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 women in the back seat of the limo or whatever. And they would just drive around the city, even if it meant maybe they had to do a couple of blocks or just, right, they would do that while Hogan was getting his skeet on. Okay? So, my point, Hogan had been cheating on Linda for a long time. Long time. Okay? So, you had all that, but still, the way Hogan was able to pretty much put all of this, quietly, right? Now, I say all this not just as the backdrop, not just as context, but to really help paint the picture for you guys, okay? So at this point, Hogan is in Impact Wrestling. He's divorced from Linda. Around 2010, he's pretty much moved on and married this new woman. And it turns out it's not even the woman that, because he finally came clean to Linda. I don't know if it was around that time or years later that, in fact, he was cheating on Linda. But remember, there was a woman by the name of, I believe, Christine, if I have the name right. My memory's a little bit rusty right now, but there was one woman that Hogan cheated on during the filming of Hogan Knows Best. Whoever that woman was, he did not go on to marry them. That's the whole point I'm trying to lay across. But the second woman that Hogan ended up dating, that's the one you really got to focus on, because the second wife, the official Mrs. Bolea, second Mrs. Bolea, he ends up cheating on this woman with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, was Heather Clem. And Hogan's trying to figure out, what the hell is going on with this, this sex tape, right? Again, we're already hearing the rumblings and the little forums that we're in and all that, but we're like, okay, well, it seems like nothing exists, nothing's out there, must just be a myth or whatever. But I can tell you, when the Hogan sex tape had finally dropped, a clip of it, which Gawker had shared, image and all that, everybody was flocking to that site. And, just to get an idea, right, this wasn't about, nor was it ever, horny people that don't have anything else better to do. It was a curiosity thing. And man, when you clicked on it, it was just the saddest goddamn thing that you ever saw. I can recall only 2 times in life where I've ever looked at a porno and I said, God damn, this is pretty fucking pathetic to watch. I'm really legit sad watching this, and I stop watching it and I just go do something else, right? China, right? Joni Lauer, okay? Yeah, we can admit that was very depressing. To even try to go back and watch it now, it's just really, really depressing. Even when you try watching the stuff with Sean Waltman, even that's fucking depressing as hell, okay? But that, and then seeing what's going on here with the Hulkster, okay? And that was just, I still remember the one line where Hogan said something along the lines of, I was surprised that they didn't show this in the Rich and Shameless episode. And no, it looks like they did not interview Hulk Hogan to get, new thoughts and all that. I'm sure he wants to be as far away from that as humanly possible, because he is trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do now. Seems like he's maybe trying to be part of the Scientologist group. I don't know, but whatever. But it was interesting. The interesting line from that joint. Oh, I felt like I ate too much food. Oh. That still gets to me to this day. And of course the line, I should be here with my wife, but instead I'm here with you, all that, and he's just spilling out all this shit to Heather. And, she's just laying on her stomach, just, kind of looking at him. And And he is just going on and on and on about all different, right? So, but again, Gawker, they've got this, and they're teasing you. They're just showing a little bit, but it's enough to be like, yo, what's going on here? And then when you hear that there's even more, when you hear that Hogan has some raunchy, spicy language that's on this joint, like you ain't seen nothing yet. Apparently, Hogan is throwing N-bombs, not the ones that's ending in A as an apple, but the ones that's ending in a hard ER. You're going, ooh, say it ain't so. Like, are you serious? I mean, and those of you that watch the Rich and Shameless episode, yeah, no shit, you understand why Hogan was trying to very hard to obtain, these tapes and all that, and, try to squash this, because this was extremely, and he was right. It put a black eye on the Hulkster. To this day, it is still a black eye on the Hulkster for those that's part of the wrestling community. Whether you're a minority or not, you will always feel a particular way about the Hulkster. You will always see the Hulkster in a new light now that this is out there and everything, right? And, to see what was going on with Gawker back then, they hit it all. They connected all the dots. There really wasn't anything out there that I felt, well, that was a surprise, or, it went down exactly as how I remember it. The only thing that I was not really sure of definitively was, okay, Bubba the Love Sponge, is he innocent here? Or did he actually film this with Hogan's permission? Because I remember back then when I was covering it, and as more information was coming out, the rumors were that Hogan had an arrangement with Bubba the Love Sponge that basically anytime he wanted to, because he was into freaky shit like that, Hulkster could come over and bang Bubba's wife. Sometimes Bubba would join in, other times Bubba would, and he really got his jollies off watching. So other times he would just kick back and watch. And, before it was definitive, okay, no, here is the absolute truth, there was rumblings that was put out there that, Bubba, had made the arrangement with the Hulkster. Hey, can I film some of this stuff? I happen to film, from time to time. I just like to have for my personal, you had those rumblings out there. You also had the rumblings out there that Bubba had filmed the Hulkster because, man, just imagine if things went south between him and Terry Bollea, and he could essentially use that as leverage to fuck with him, get some money, and all this other stuff. It was crazy, all the rumors that was circulating around back then. But to definitively, now, for the record, hey, Bubba the Love Sponge, he finally, because remember, when it came to the trial, he never did appear, which had hurt the hell out of Gawker. It hurt the hell out of Gawker. It's one thing to make an appearance and just, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. But it's another when you don't show up. And Bubba had refused, and he didn't show up, and that was a devastating blow. But as we had later found out, definitively in this documentary special, Bubba had filmed the Hulkster without the Hulkster's knowledge or consent. And it was a big deal back then because, you had Gawker that was operating behind the whole, freedom of the press, free speech, and basically, hey, look, Hogan is always talking about his sex life and all this, all that, and, this is fair game. That was their whole thing. But anybody that had even 2 cents of a brain would realize, yeah, but if this person was filmed without their consent, then you're looking at an invasion of privacy, and you're looking at some serious firestorms here of a lawsuit. You may not want to mess with this one. And you understood. I understood way back then that what Gawker was trying to do, it was all about the hits. It was all about the clicks, the traffics to their website. And as Rich and Shameless had displayed, it was about reaching certain marks of traffic, for that day, that month, and all of that. So I would definitely say go out of your way if you never did follow the story, and you're trying to make sure that, hey, as far as a well-rounded presentation from all sides, all accounts, they do a really good job in covering it. No stone left unturned. Check it out. You guys can easily watch it. It's available on demand and on the download. So definitely check it out when you guys get a chance. But yeah, I remember that very well. When they sued and the lawsuit came in, remember Hogan was awarded $120 million in damages. And when Hogan won that lawsuit, that pretty much was the beginning of the end. I think I had said it at the time when I was following the trial and everything on air. I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, this trial is going to be watched by many because this is going to set the tone for any potential lawsuit that comes down the line where someone's invasion of privacy comes into play to the general public, and you got the press thinking that, you understand where I'm going with that logic, so, and just to see how Gawker ultimately, now Gawker did try to do a little reboot. I think they tried it a couple of years ago, but didn't really work, and they pretty much were done after that. So, but yeah, definitely check it out. Biggest piece of news that had kicked off our Monday, if you're a gamer, AEW Fight Forever now has an official launch date. It is Thursday, June 29th for all your favorite platforms. So definitely get on that. I'm looking forward to finally getting my hands on that game. It's been a long time coming, and rumor has it that the way this game is being looked, they're not going to do no page out of THQ and release a yearly title. They're going to be looking to honestly just, let's put the game out, and we'll just keep putting out patches, new content. So basically think Sims, think Skyrim, right? They're just constantly, Fortnite, they just keep rolling stuff out. So I think that's a really great concept for them to do. I'm looking forward to that. June 29th, so we've got about a month and a half to go, basically, before that game is out. I'm very excited for that. Speaking of games, you got the latest patch for WWE 2K23 that's out. It's a patch 1.11. This was released on May 19th, so if you guys have not checked out 2K23 in a few days, definitely go and update. Apparently, it addresses concerns of certain finishers or signature moves being delayed in gameplay. And the patch just came out days after patch 110, which fixed a number of stability issues and added Candice LeRae and Mia Yim to the game as playable characters. Meanwhile, 2K also released the Pretty Sweet DLC pack earlier in the week, which added Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Tiffany Stratton, and Pretty Deadly. So, good stuff going on right there. And other than that, I say let's stick a fork in it. Let's call this episode DONE done. At this point, we're at the 1 hour, 54-minute mark. There's loads more that we can get into, including, and we'll do it on this Wednesday show after Dynamite goes off the air. But we're going to have discussion, of course, of some news in regards to WWE's negotiations with Fox and NBC Universal over TV rights deals. Got some interesting stuff I want to share with you guys in regards to that. Tony Khan is supposed to have another announcement. I know one of those announcements is about who's going to be hosting the first ever episode of AEW Collision. Okay. We'll also talk some NXT. I will preview Impact Wrestling's Under Siege event because this Thursday on the actually no, I believe it is going to be on Friday. I think it's on Friday. Let me actually look at the email real quick here. My boy Jeremy had reached out to me from 401 Mania, and hang on here. Yes, Friday night apparently Impact Wrestling is going to be presenting their Under Siege, I guess it's a premium live event. So that's going to be airing at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I'm actually going to be providing live coverage for that event beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. So I remember I was telling you guys it's been a good minute since I've checked out Impact Wrestling and all of that. So it's kind of interesting how everything just fell into place here as far as, hey, Impact Wrestling, what's up? So I'll be covering that, and it looks like this week's AEW Rampage is going to be airing late Saturday night, beginning of Sunday morning. So basically, Sunday morning at midnight, possibly 1 a.m. So make sure that you guys have your DVRs set for that, okay? But yeah, I'll be back with you guys on Wednesday for a new edition of the RCWR show. So we'll be on after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Loads we'll get into, including offering preview and predictions for Night of Champions. Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to Julian Cannon of Digiday and the Nocturnal. Julian has a interview that is about to be released as he talked to the producers of Dark Side of the Ring. He asked them some pretty good questions, one of them including the blowback that the boys had received for inaccurate reportings there of the plane ride from hell, and some other interesting little tidbits. So be on the lookout for that. He's going to be releasing that this week. And shout out to the boys over there at Rustlin' Soup. Shout out to them. Much love. And shout out to our sponsors. Yeah. Again, check out all episodes of the RCWR show. Available on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Hey, we're getting ready to go off the air. I hate to leave you guys hanging on this note, but apparently Chris Haynes, NBA sports reporter, he has been told that LeBron James is unsure if he'll be with the Lakers when the 2023-24 season starts in the fall and retirement is under consideration. So I guess at this point, would you guys like to see LeBron come back for another season? Or do you think he needs to stick a fork in it and be DONE done? What say you guys? Would you like to see him continue to play at the rate that he has been able to play quality-wise, as it's still pretty damn good? Or, is it a case right here where, you know what, you just want to see him play long enough where Bronny enters the league and the two of them are on the same team? Or do you think at this point, no, he should just ride into the sunset already? He's done more than enough. He's good. Sound off. Let me know, and I'll definitely make this be a show excerpt online and everything. But yeah, that's breaking. We literally just got that within the past 60 seconds here, so that's pretty interesting. All right, guys, get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR Show. And until next go around, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. And I will see you guys next go round. Take care, y'all.